Inshallah, this evening we shall be discussing some of the reflections and preferences within the seerah of our beloved Prophet ﷺ. We shall be asking ourselves a lot of questions. Why those instances happened, and what are some of the reflections we may be benefiting from those instances that happened. First of all, had we ever asked ourselves, why was the Prophet born in Mecca? Whereas we have a lot of cities in the world. We have Medina, we have Qahira, we have a whole lot of cities. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selected Mecca to be the birthplace of the Prophet ﷺ. Most of the ulama who deliberate around this issue said, because Mecca was a center at that time where a lot of trade happens. A lot of people bring their goods to Mecca to sell. So it's like if a religion is being given a chance and this religion is targeting the whole world, meaning Mecca is also part of the points that can easily sell this religion to the world. The same thing applies to Hajj and Umrah. It was there before the Prophet ﷺ, but there were a whole lot of innovations added to that worship. So a lot of people come from different parts of the world just to observe what Hajj and Umrah in Mecca. So should that religion start from Mecca, it will be much easier for it to be transferred to the rest of the world. The same thing applies to Sayyidina Ibrahim. Also once adopted Tawheed or adopted Mecca as center of Tawheed, and he preached Tawheed there. So still, there are a lot of people who has an idea of Tawheed, meaning it may be simple to communicate Tawheed to the people there because they've once heard it before. That's why during this time, you realize there were some Christians like Warqa ibn Nawfal and the rest. They knew what was Tawheed, and they knew what was revelation, and they knew who was a prophet. So, bringing a new prophet within that same locality will be much easier than going to a different part of the world where they've never received any revelation before, they've never had any prophet before. It will be difficult for a prophet to communicate his message to them. And also Sayyidina Ibrahim prayed for this particular city, Mecca. He prayed for Mecca for Barakah. And indeed, Mecca, there is no famine there. But when you go to Mecca, a lot of fruit, a lot of advantages, a lot of things are available there because of the barakah of that city. So with this I can say, we've learned something on why Mecca was chosen to be the birthplace of Sallallahu. Secondly, have we ever wondered or asked ourselves, why is he from the tribe of Quraysh? The Arab Quraysh. And in Arab they have a lot of tribes. Why was he chosen from Quraysh or to be among the Quraysh? As we all know, Quraysh is one of the tribes that most of the Arabs see as the noblest, and they cherish them, they respect them a lot because of their ancestral history and the way they portray themselves and the way they handle humanity and the way they serve the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they have a great respect within the world and the Arab community. So if it's coming from Quraysh, it will be easier for the people around to accept and follow him than bringing a prophet from the minority or a tribe. A lot of people don't see any respect for them. So Allah chose for him the best tribe within that time and within that community. Thirdly, when you grasp through the history of Sallam, you realize he was breastfeeded by Halima Sa'adiyya, the same thing by Thuwayba al-Islamiyya, and he keeps on moving from his grandfather, from his mother to the grandfather to the uncle. Meaning he has been within different sets of families. This made the Prophet Sallam and gave him advantage to understand, understand all the dialect of the Arabs. There wasn't even a single an Arabian who sat before Sallam and spoke in his dialect, Allah will reply him in his dialect or his language, because he migrated from Suwaiba Aslamiyya to Halima to Sa'diyya, back to his grandfather, back to his uncle, and also he was in Mecca where a lot of Arabs used to come. So he knows the way they speak, he understands their dialect, he understands their tradition. So that too also made him very stronger in the Arabic language. So sometimes he must say some words. And even the Sahaba, who are also Arabs, he will ask them, do you understand the meaning of this and that? Although it's their language, but out of respect, and they know the Prophet ﷺ is a proficient in that language, then they will say, Allah wa Rasulu Alam. Allah and His Prophet has the best knowledge. Then you give them additional knowledge on that particular word. It's like the same thing he asked them once, أَتَدْرُونَ مَا الْغِيبَةِ? Do you know the meaning of the word al-ghiba? They said, Allah and His Prophet knows best. And he said to them, to mention your brother in what he hates. Say something about your brother. And you know that thing will anger him. And you'll never be happy with it. He said, that's ghiba. Because he understands the Arabic language more than all of them. And also, fourthly, the Prophet ﷺ was born an orphan. Have we ever asked ourselves, why Allah is bringing a prophet and He brought a prophet, this prophet was an orphan, and he needed a whole lot of support and a whole lot of things? When you look at the history, you realize Prophet was sent as an orphan or was born as an orphan. Why? Because he can concentrate on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his love and everything. If your father is alive, your mother is alive, there may be some division of love and affection. So he was passionate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His love is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also, once he's an orphan, he might face a lot of challenges within his life. So that will make him very strong, so that he can face what ahead of him of the prophecy. But had it been like, oh, somebody who will be pampered by his parents, maybe one day, if he's giving that message, he cannot deliver as expected of him. But because he was an orphan, he has a motive, he has a target in life, he knows how he does whatever he does. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Alam yajidika yatiman fa'awa. Had he not seen you, had he not found you as an orphan, then he embraced you and empowered you, so that at least you can focus. And nobody too will attack you with the past of your parents. Because by the time he became a prophet, it had been like over 40 years of the death of his father. So how many people will even remember, oh, Abdullah did this and that? They will not. The same thing, the mother too died at early stage of his life, 6 years. So it's like he has perfected his life to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also you all know, the Prophet used to rear animals on a regular daily talking basis. Have we ever asked ourselves why somebody who is aspiring to become a prophet to be taking the sheep to the farm, to the forest, just to rear them and bring them to get money from people? He wasn't owning those animals. We all know sheep are amongst the animals who are very difficult to handle because their mind is very down. When you compare them to like goats, goats are somehow smarter. When they see a car coming, he can run away. You know the car will knock him down. But the sheep will be looking at the car until the car knocks it down. So dealing with such creatures is very difficult. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put him in that situation so that he will learn patience. He will learn how to guide people. Because among the people whom he believes in, we have some people who behave more badly than the sheep. So he must have the patience, he must have the zeal and the muscles to handle all those things. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala usually, as it was said by the Hadith, مَا مِنْ رَسُولٍ أَوْ نَبِيٍّ إِلَّا وَقَدْ رَعِيَ. Almost all the prophets, that was their job that they do. just to learn patience and how to manage people. And number 6, the Prophet ﷺ, when he brought this religion, indeed, he was molested, he was bullied by Quraysh and the neighbors. At that time, he could have even left Makkah and go elsewhere, but he endured that treatment, and within that too, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with what? With a sabr, the patience and the endurance. So when he started his propagating his message, when he went to Medina, there were a whole lot of instances that happened, but because he was used to endurance, he was able to endure that pressure. But had it been somebody who has never been under pressure before, oh, with any simple thing, he will run away. You know, when you look at the history of Yunus alayhi salam, some of us say he left his city Nineveh because he was angry and people were not responding to his call. He left. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished him in the belly of that fish until he realized his mistake and came back, and was later forgiven. But Prophet ﷺ was able to endure that pressure. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَاصْبِرْ كَمَا صَبَرَ أُولُو الْعَزْمِ مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. You need to endure the pressure, you need to be patient, as those prophets before you endured, and they were among the best. The same thing applies to Jerusalem. Endured a lot. There was a time he was praying in front of Kaaba. He was prostrating in his sujood. Then they came and poured on him the intestines of a camel with bad smell. The Prophet immediately, when he raised his head from the sujood, he said, "May Allah guide you. Hadn't been and you will go fighting." But Prophet is used to endurance. He has the muscle to handle those pressure, to make sure that one day he will get them on track. And also, have you ever asked ourselves, why did the Prophet selected Medina upon all the cities in this world? He sent his Sahaba to Habasha, Ethiopia, and the rest. He knows a lot of places. He went to Sham before. But when he intended migrating, leaving Mecca, he selected Medina. And then, ulama say, the people of Medina are too welcoming and too opening than Mecca. So what he did is, he firstly sent Mus'ab al-Umayr, a very young, energetic guy, there to preach the gospel, so that at least you see the reflection, if indeed there is a room for migration there. He said he went to Taif, to access Taif and see if to be a place that he can migrate. And he was molested and beaten. So later, most of the men and those who went to Medina to preach the gospel, they were welcomed and people were embraced Islam. To an extent, Mus'ab ibn Umayr cannot give them the necessary teachings they needed because his knowledge was very limited on Islam at that time. So he had to always send messages to Prophet in Mecca, inquiring for fatwa, and ask Prophet to leave Mecca and come to Medina. People are welcoming the religion here. You shouldn't be there disturbing ourselves. So Prophet chose Medina because he knows the people there are good and welcoming. So on that day, when he arrived in Medina, a whole city embraced Islam. They welcomed Islam and they stopped the shirk and those kufr that they were in before, except only few tribes who were Jewish tribes who came to Medina to stay there in the hope that the last and the final Prophet will come from their lineage, and they lost it. That's why they don't like our Prophet, they don't like Islam, they hate losing that opportunity or the last and final messenger coming from there again. They lost it, so they hate us a lot. And also, have you ever asked ourselves why the Prophet chose Abu Bakr Siddiq upon all the Sahaba, upon all the people living in Makkah? He chose Abu Bakr to be his companion in whatsoever he does. So in the hadith, whenever you see, we went, Jerusalem went, and they will say with Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman. Most of the hadith, Jerusalem traveled with, they will mention Abu Bakr's name. Wherever he goes with Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr is somebody who is much committed and very loyal to whatever he does. And he holds a gratitude, a power of faith and iman in whatever he does. You know, when the announcement came that Prophet has now become a prophet, when he announced to the people of Makkah, Sayyidina Abu Bakr at that time wasn't in Makkah. So when later, after some years, he was coming from his business, people started telling him, hey, your friend is now claiming to be a prophet. And he said to them, إن كان قد قالها فأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأنه رسول الله. Indeed, if he said it, then I testify that none did to be worshipped except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Muhammad is a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even before meeting the Prophet. So that's why he was pronounced as the first person to embrace Islam among the men or the elderly, whereas Khadija was the first among women. And Sayyidina Ali was the first among the youth. He embraced Iman when the Iman was very necessary to embrace. This Sayyidina Abu Bakr lost all his work for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bilal and a whole lot of companions who were enslaved, he put them and freed them with his money. Rasulullah in the hadith said, ما نفعني مال أحد كما نفعني مال أبا بكر. I've never benefited from anybody's money or wealth like I benefited from the wealth of Sayyidina Abu Bakr. He supported the Hijrah with his money. He supported personally in cash and kind. So you see him after paying a lot of money to support the dawah, after paying a lot of money to support the jihad, you see him at the forefront of the jihad list. He is ready to die for Islam. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His knowledge chose the best among us to be the friend or the companion of the Prophet. He is the only person whatsoever good deed or good thing that you ask for a day, Abu Bakr will have done it already within that same day. He never leave a chance of any good deed in his life. Do this, oh today I want to rest, oh today I want to take some time, yesterday I did it, oh I read Quran yesterday, so today I should also get some rest. No. He always take any chances to do whatever is good. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even praised him saying, the second of the two, when they were in the cave, and when he was telling his colleague, don't be afraid, don't be disturbed. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. That's Sayyidina Abu Bakr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, without mentioning his name, but anybody who knows the history knows exactly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to Sayyidina Abu Bakr. So you realize, even after the Hijrah of Sallam, later when Makkah was open for Islam, Rasulullah had to go back to Makkah because Makkah was a very good spot for the dawah. So when the people of Makkah embraced Islam, then Islam started spreading too faster. Because people come there for Hajj, for Umrah, and you easily get access to Islam. And also, the Prophet lost his father, his mother, his grandparents, and also his uncle who was taking care of him. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never wanted him to depend on anybody. Now, a lot of us, our children are very lazy because we have been providing for them. But had they found themselves in the situation where their father lived, maybe they could have done better. So in Arab they say, easy situation instances creates weak men, and tough situation instances creates tough or strong men. A lot of people are here doing their best to feed the family, but the way you will be sacrificing yourself, your life, your time, your children might not do that because they never saw what you saw in life. So they just made life easy. They are being pampered, they are being fed by their parents, they don't parent, they don't do anything. They don't even have a father that he thinks he should feed his father. Your father is doing well. But maybe your father, at any stage of his life, he was feeding his father. Or he was even feeding himself. But we are fortunate, alhamdulillah, a lot of the kids now, the fathers are doing well, more especially with the Muslim community. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide our fathers. Indeed, when you glance through the history, Rasulullah stayed in Mecca after the prophecy or after the prophetship. 13 years propagating Islam, and only few people embraced Islam. At that time, nobody believed after the first and second year could have changed. But he didn't. Why? Because there was no command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for him to leave Mecca. And during that stay, he learned a lot in patience, endurance, pressure, modesty, how to handle people. And then he also saw the true colors of everybody. And he was able within that same time to gather the best materials with him. So he took the best amongst them to Medina to propagate Islam. But had he left early, maybe he would have even gotten like Bilal and Co to follow him. He would have gotten like Uthman and the rest to follow him. Had he rushed to leave. But he had the patience to wait till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the permission to leave Makkah before he left. Meaning he did that in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also, have we ever asked ourselves, why did the Prophet send Mus'ab ibn Umayr radiallahu anhu to Medina? Although he had Abu Bakr, he had Umar, he had Uthman, he had a whole lot of big men who were more knowledgeable. But he left them and sent Mus'ab. Why? Because at that time, Mus'ab was a very young and energetic guy without any family ties in Mecca. He wasn't married. He had no ties. And secondly, he was from a bigger and a noble family. His mother was among the wealthiest women in Mecca. To an extent, Mus'ab, what he was, nobody in Mecca amongst his peers were the clothes Mus'ab wear. Neither do they even have the spray Mus'ab uses. And indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created him a very handsome guy. You see him, you like him. So such a person, when he is going to be the face of a dawah, people will easily like him. For instance, even with politicians, when they are choosing, they choose somebody who is attracted to people, who can be loved by people, to take the lead or to take the nod, so that at least people can easily understand and easily come closer to him. And Mus'ab also was blessed with what? With good communication skills. At that early stage of his life, he can communicate well, he can convince well, he was very good, very excellent. So Rasulullah sent him to Medina at the age of 17, 18, very young, to communicate this religion to them. And indeed, he was able to achieve the aim. And because when he embraced Islam too, his mother casted him off. So Rasulullah saw the need to remove him from Makkah, so that at least he can easily feel self-esteem within him to propagate. Instead of seeing, oh, I was at first enjoying this and that, but now I don't have those privileges. He might be thinking of those things, but those Sahaba, they never had the intention of this dunya. Their intention of hope is the akhirah, which we pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should also bless us with this intention. And during Makkah too, the Prophet ﷺ was named as Al-Amin. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already knows the mission before him. So he got the title as Al-Amin because he is coming to deliver a message, and we need somebody everybody trusts and believe in him. But had it been known like, oh, this one is a liar, this one is a thief, he's a bully, he's this and that, nobody will come near to Islam. But already he had a very good name, that he is the Al-Amin, the most trustworthy in Makkah. So even during the days when the Quraysh demolished Kaaba and intended building the Kaaba again, when they were done building the Kaaba, it was left who will place the blacks to the Hajar al-Aswad at the corner. So it became a huge misunderstanding between the tribe of the Quraysh and the rest of the Arabs. Everybody wants to take that Hana to Hana his family. So later they decided, once we have Muhammad and he's Al-Amin, we know he's trustworthy, he should judge between us. So they went to him that we are done with the Kaaba, we want to place the stone. We want your input. Whatever you say, all of us will agree because everyone trusts Muhammad. So he told them, he asked them, how many tribes are you? And they said, oh, we are this and that tribe. He said, okay, bring me a bigger cloth. Then they brought the cloth. Bani Fulan, come and hold this side. Then they held it. Bani Fulan, come and hold this side. Then they did. Till he was able to gather all of them around the cloth, holding some portions. Then he said, let's all carry the cloth to the corner where we are going to place the Hajar al-Aswad. And they all moved towards the Hajar al-Aswad. And when they got there, they were pointed at, so what's going to happen? Then he took the stone with his hand and placed it. And they all agreed. But you know, at first, had he said, okay, then let me go and place it for you, maybe someone will say, no, you are coming from this family, we will not allow it. But look at the instance, the methodology, the knowledge, and the zakah he used in solving this problem. And they were all pleased and okay with his judgment. So he later took the stone and dropped it at the corner. That's our Prophet. And also, because he already learned how to endure whatsoever pressure that comes. So when the jihad came, they never saw the jihad to be like, oh, we are going to die, oh, we are going to be destroyed, oh, we have to run away, because already they are used to it. And they don't see the value of this worldly life. They value the akhirah, meeting their Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what they value. So he had the correct education for jihad. He had the endurance for jihad. He had the readiness for jihad. That's why sometimes when they go to the battle and they are coming back, the whole lot of family, they don't expect their fathers to come back. They don't expect their sons to come back. They don't expect their beloved ones to come back. Their wish is for them to get shahada. And with Allah's mercy, a lot of them always come back. Only few. You look at that, but how many Muslims were killed? Only few. And 25. A lot will come back. Even wounded or not, they will still come back. And also we realized during the days of Medina, we had a whole lot of hypocrites, a bunch of them within the Muslim community, creating a whole lot of problems for the Muslims. The Prophet knew them clearly, but he never fought them. To an extent, one day Sayyidina Umar intended, when he saw it clearly, this man is a munafiq. He told the Prophet, give me the permission to cut off his head. Prophet told him, then the people will say, Muhammad is killing his companions. So he had the patience and he had the skills to maintain them, although he knows they were enemies of Islam, but yet he knew how to manage them. Okay, then the Muslim can take over the mic to do the other inshallah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
We all know during the treaty of Al-Hudaybiyah, all the conditions were not favorable to the Muslims, but yet the Prophet accepted it and signed, although his companions were refusing. To an extent, when they even requested that the Prophet should be erased from his name, they don't believe he's an apostle of Allah. Then he told Sayyidina Ali, remove it. They said that, should I remove? You are not an apostle of Allah. He said, my hands cannot do that. So later he asked them, show me where it starts from, because he wasn't the reader and where it ends. And when they showed me, he cancelled with his own hands. And the Sahaba were worried, thinking these rules were not fair to us. But you know, what we got in return, the whole world realized, oh, Muhammad is a very peaceful guy. Although he also had the men to also fight, and they were ready. He had the muscle to fight and do whatsoever he wishes to do. But he accepted those conditions to prove to the world that he's a peaceful man. So I wonder, nowadays, when people see Muslims as terrorists and other stuff, to be frank, it's never fair to our history, neither to ourselves. Because we don't entertain those aspects, but rather we entertain peace. That's why our religion is Al-Islam, the peace. We entertain peace. So he accepted it. So later, when he intended to enter Mecca, to fight the people in Mecca, everybody know, oh, indeed, they didn't feel to be fight or to be attacked, because they did a lot of things against Islam, supporting our enemies against us, a whole lot of things. But yet when he entered Mecca, due to the mess in his heart, he said to them, what do you think I will do to you guys? They said, you are a beloved brother, the son of a beloved brother. Then he said, then go, you are all freed. He never did anything. And that pushed them back to Islam, to accept and embrace Islam. When they know he has now gotten the opportunity to deal with them, but yet he forgets and forgives and forgets. And also, when you glance through the history, you will realize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has embraced Prophet with a lot of hikmah, wisdom in whatever he does. Even the way he sets his army, the way he arranged them, the way he approaches his enemies. It's only in Islam, when we go to war, we don't kill women, we don't kill children, we don't kill elderly people, we don't destroy properties, we don't cut down even trees, we don't burn houses, we don't burn farms. But you look at the other communities, when there is something between them and other or us, they always want to take the advantage once they have the strength to destroy us. They will kill our children, they will kill our wives, they will kill our fathers, they will kill our elderly ones. And even in Islam, even those who did not even join the war, we don't fight them. But now this is not what's happening in the world. Whatever chance they get, they want to use it against us. May Allah have mercy upon us. And we all know the Prophet had a very nice approach of relating to his companions. The way he mingles among them, sometimes even when a visitor approaches, he cannot even differentiate between Sayyidina Abu Bakr and the rest of the Sahaba and the Prophet. So sometimes he has to even ask, who is Muhammad? Then it will be directed to him, whereas he's sitting among them. He's not like us, oh, I need a separate chair, I need a special chair, I need a throne to sit on. No. So there was a time when a visitor came to him and he wanted to prostrate and bow down for him because he is the king of the Muslim community. And he said, don't do that, I'm just a woman being like you. So, Jerusalem, he never put barrier between those who can visit him and those who cannot. Now our elders, if you are not at the higher ranking, you cannot go to the office. You cannot even get appointment to meet them. But the Prophet was open to the poor, to the rich, to the needy, to the women, to the children. Everybody has his access to him. He was communicable and very approachable. So with this, we bring to our lesson to the end. And inshallah, if there are some questions that we need to answer, then we answer before we start our prayer. Wa alaikum salam.
What you said that the Sahaba name, what the Prophet sent the younger,
Yeah.
what is his name?
Mus'ab bin Umayr.
Musa.
Mus'ab.
Musa, okay.
Mus'ab bin Umayr.
Okay.
Before any question comes, have you ever asked yourself, the people the Prophet selected them to write the revelation? Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Umar, Zayd ibn Thabit, Sayyidina Ali, Sayyidina Uthman. Why those people were selected for this particular service in writing? Firstly, it is very known that these people, they were among the best writers in Medina or in Mecca or in the history of Arabs. Abu Bakr was a very good writer and communicator. The same thing applies to Umar, the same thing applies to Ali, the same thing applies to Zayd ibn Thabit and the rest, Abi Musa and the rest. And they were trustworthy even before Islam. So it became very difficult for enemies to attack that book. Because they know it came from a prophet who doesn't write and who doesn't read. So he wouldn't have gotten the chance to even read from somewhere for him to narrate it to them. Because that's the hikmah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He that cannot read, he's not a reader. That's why when Jibril came, he said, Ma ana biqari, I'm not a reader, I cannot read. So Allah gave him the best people among the Sahaba and among the people of that era to write the revelation. That's why nobody has ever come and said, oh, Abu Bakr, we don't trust him, we don't accept him because he was among those who wrote the Quran. And the Quran at that time was very common. A lot of Sahaba were writing it. Even at the time of the caliphate of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, when he intended putting the Quran together as one book, although he was Hafid, Umar was Hafid, the rest were Hufad, and they all had it. they never wrote the Quran from what they had. They made sure that whoever wrote the Quran in front of Rasulullah should bring his, so we can compare. And we all know we are going to follow the mother tongue of the Rasulullah. Although we have some dialect, there's some Arabic dialects, with the riwayah came with it, but we want to maintain the dialect of Rasulullah, which is something uniform to us that we can all work on. So they will start from Bismillah al-Fatiha, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Whoever had it written during the time of Sallam, in front of Sallam, should bring it. Because although he wasn't a reader or a writer, he used to do corrections from them. He would tell them, this one, lift it up. So that's why sometimes when you look at the wudud, the structure of the mud of the Quran differs from the normal Arabic or the official Arabic that we write. Because most of those things, even sometimes the writing, وَلَا تَقُولَنَّ لِشَيْءٍ إِنِّي فَعِلُ ذَلِكَ غَدًا. The writing differs from the normal official Arabic. And that's how it was revealed to the Prophet. That's how it was revealed to the Prophet. So a whole lot of hikmah surrounding the people who selected them to write the revelation for him. And also, he had a whole lot of strategy and approach in communicating this dawah that he has. You know, he wrote to almost the rulers of the world at that time. In Rome, in Persia, in whatsoever, he wrote a letter to them. من محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم محمد رسول الله إلى كسرى عظيم الروم أسلم تسلم, with a very simple and unique sentence, but communicable and sending a strong message, because he was master in the Arabic language. And a lot of them, they knew indeed with this writing that is before us, this is really the anticipated last and the final prophet we are expecting. So he used to write letters, and sometimes he used to do some things without telling the companion do it, and automatically they will emulate. And sometimes when someone does something, he wouldn't come and say, "Oh, Muhammad, why did you do this and that?" He will come to the public in order to educate the community. What do you see about the people who do this and that and that and that and that? Do they not fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So when you know you have those within, you will take the advantage to change and learn from the message being given. Sometimes he confirms to them what they are doing is good, because he will not talk or comment on it. And they know had that thing been bad, the Prophet would have commented on it. The same thing applies to when Sayyidina Bilal added as-salatu khayr min al-nawm to the adhan. He heard it, and because he was okay with it, he never commented on it, and it became a sharia, because it had been affirmed by the Prophet. He had a lot of strategies, and whenever he gets the chance to, he takes the advantage. For instance, a man came to the mosque, to the Prophet, and he went to the corner of the mosque and started urinating, and the Sahaba was angered. When they said they wanted to attack him, he said, "No, no, leave him, don't cut him from being, leave him to be." And when he was done, he told him, "Here is a place of worship. We don't urinate here. If you want to urinate, you should go outside, find a convenient place." Then the man said, "May Allah have peace upon me and Muhammad only," excluding the rest. Because they were abusing him because of what he did. But he put the opposite of that by selecting the best approach to educate him on what he should have done, instead of beating him or teaching him a lesson as we do nowadays. We should always select the best approach to guide our brothers and sisters. And also, he was our leader and our imam, who deems fit to be emulated, to be copied. The way he used to handle matters, the way he had patience, the same thing his Sahaba emulated from him. Sayyidina Umar was once on the member giving the khutbah. And on that day, they shared some clothes among the people of Medina from the prophets of Islam. And everybody got one cloth. And Omar came to remember wearing two. And a man lost his hand. And Omar gave him a chance to talk at the khutbah. Because it's allowed. Once the Imam gives you a chance, you can talk. Then he asks, you gave us one and you are wearing two. And Umar said, this is for me. And that one is for my son Abdullah. He gave it to me. And Abdullah was there. And the guy said, I don't doubt you, our leader, but I didn't want somebody to be thinking, oh, our leader gave us one and took two. That's why I wanted that to be clear to the general public. You can see the way the Sahaba to learn from their leaders. With this, we bring our lectures to an end. If there's any question, we can ask before we close. We have only 3 minutes left. Now,
to idan mutum zai shigo masallaci wacce kawa kawai da shigo ya kamata ya ce idan zai yi wacce kawa ta kawai shi ta wanda zai ce.
the brother is asking, when entering the mosque, which foot should he use in stepping inside the mosque, and when exiting, which one should he use and what should he say? Mostly, as you all know, we enter with the right and leave with the left. And when you enter, you say Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, Salatu Wassalam, ala Rasulillah. And when exiting, you can do tasbih or any tasbih to exit. And it's not a must. But mostly when you're entering, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, Salatu Wassalam, ala Rasulillah. And you don't need to raise your voice for everybody to hear you. You can just say it around you. Bismillah. Very easy. Very easy. You don't need to raise your voice.
Can you say the same dua when entering Masjid al-Haram?
Exactly.
Dua and entering also the Masjid.
Exactly. Exactly. Any masjid, you can say the same thing. Any masjid, you can say the same thing. When entering any masjid. Now.
Did the Prophet Muhammad leave a hadith where he says that when you go into a vacant building or anywhere, you give it the greeting like Assalamu alaikum to the angels, to the spirits that's in the building?
I'm not getting you. You said the Prophet said when you are entering what?
When you enter a building, whether it's vacant or not,
Yeah.
you say Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, usually, salam, whether it's vacant or you have people have to say the salam. Because you have jinnis, you have the malaika, they will respond to it. So when you enter, like maybe any vacant place, you can say the salam alaikum. And even it will prevent the shayateen from having you if they are around. And with that, they will leave. So that's why sometimes, even when we feel the presence of the jinn, we say assalamu alaikum. It prevents them. That's why we need to spread the salam amongst us always. Yeah, you can add. The addition has no problem. So there was a time when Sallam was sitting and somebody can say assalamu alaikum. Then he said 10. And somebody said assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And he said 20. Somebody said assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And he said 30. Meaning, even in salam, some ulama, when they put taslim, they say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. But sometimes when you are in congregation, you don't need to confuse people. You say what they are used to and what they know. Assalam. Ta'ala was never reported within the same salam, but a lot of people didn't see anything wrong with it. You can say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. But if you add, it's normal for normal salam. But in salat, it's better you remove it. Because it was not reported within the salam meaning, but a lot of scholars didn't see anything wrong with it. Yeah, Imam Fawzan is a very respected scholar, and he has his opinion, and there are several opinions. So sometimes to them, this one is the known one, then you maintain it. Because to them it was not reported in any hadith, so some say ta'ala, so they don't see it. But they say, oh, it's just an adjective qualifying Allah, so they don't see anything wrong with it. Uh, so with them, most of them, whatever they don't know, they keep it off. They don't entertain whatever they don't know. Now,
Any more questions? Very thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sheikh, thank you for the lecture and highlighting all these points. I have one question. Is there a message or wisdom behind Prophet Muhammad ﷺ not having sons? I mean, he had, but they all died very young. So is there like a message behind that, like, so that they don't claim something after?
exactly. You know, the Prophet had three sons, Al-Qasim Abdullah, and you know, Ibrahim. You know, it was among the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he took their lives before they grew up. You know, had he left any son on this earth before his death, you know, nowadays, even Imamship, when you die, your child wants to inherit you. So it will be like something that needs to be inherited. You look at even the Sahaba. Some people think Sayyidina Ali is the closest person to the Prophet ﷺ, and he has to be the next to it. So it will be a whole lot of point of fight. You look at what happened between the sons of Sayyidina Ali after his demise. So it was a perfect hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he never let them go to see the death of their father, so that people said, oh, this one has to live. No, the throne is for his father, he has to inherit his father. Now, because of that, we give the law to people who do not qualify to be the place we are putting them. So it was a very brilliant hikmah. So Fatima was the only daughter who lived after the death of Prophet. And he told her, you will be the first person among my close relatives to follow me. So after his death, she didn't spend much time, and she followed him. And when he told her that, he gave her that message on his sick bed, she was very happy. So there was a time the Sahaba asked him, when your father was sick, he called you 2 times, and first whispered something in your ear, and you cried. And he called you for the second time, and whispered something in your ears. Then you started smiling and laughing. What did he tell you? Then she said, I wasn't supposed to reveal what has happened between me and the Prophet ﷺ to anybody, but for the sake of knowledge, I will tell you. The first one, he told me he will be dying. So I cried. And the second one, he told me I will be the first person among his close relatives to follow him. And I was happy to follow my father.
Okay, last question.
So they didn't live longer. You look at even what happened between Aisha and the rest of the Sahaba. Because she was the wife of the Prophet. So had it been like, oh, his sons were there, his daughters were there, oh, it would be a very big fight. And from there, enemies always enter. Look at the children of Sayyidina Ali. That's where we started getting problems. Some were calling for Hassan, some were calling for Hussein after Hussein, some went to Hassan, oh, we have a lot. And that is our problem. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار